The old cutie put her fingers into a 100-degree oil pot and fried them violently, took them out just over 5 minutes, and then carefully used them to wrap her fingers, and then waited for her fingers to be reborn again, while her sister was TT. While holding her finger with her cherry-like lips and feeling puzzled by her sister's actions, after a week of fermentation, the lovely old woman devoutly removed the gauze, only to find that her finger had turned into old bacon. This scene made her cry heartbreakingly, and her younger sister stepped forward to comfort her. Suddenly, she found that her sister's fingers were smooth and delicate, and the old cutie pulled up her sister's fingers and stuffed them out of the crack in the door. It turns out that this man is a king. He just woke up that day and heard a beautiful singing voice. The king followed the singing voice and saw a graceful figure. The king, amazed by the beauty, concluded that the other person must be as beautiful as a celestial being. Thinking of this, the king immediately returned to the room, took out the jewelry at the bottom of the box, and asked the guards to send it as a token of love, but the people in the room were very mysterious, and closed the door tightly, and only turned out a bucket to receive gifts, and the guards could only put the jewelry in the bucket and hand it in. The women were very happy to receive the gifts, even though they were already in their 50s. They had voices as sweet as young girls. They put on the necklaces and looked at themselves in the mirror, overflowing with joy. The special love from the king made the two sisters feel inflated with pride. In the evening, the charming king suddenly visited and poured out his love in his heart. He said to the people inside the house that as long as they opened the door and let her in, she will be the next queen. The younger sister wanted to step forward and explain this misunderstanding. But my sister covered my mouth and said with a gentle and beautiful voice, "My heart was moved, I felt envious, but I can only guarantee that you will come back today, in a week's time. I will give you one, let you admire my beauty alone." The king asked eagerly outside the door, "Which part?" My sister said that I can't tell you yet. This sentence made the king even more curious, so he agreed very excitedly. The two sisters in the house began to figure out a way. They wanted to make their fingers delicate and smooth in the shortest time. However, after the old cutie's naughty operation, their fingers became more and more like old bacon. But the younger sister was different. She continuously sucked her fingers for 24 hours. Now her fingers were as tender as a baby, and at that moment the king came again, and the old cutie took his sister's hand and stretched it out. This king liked to play with colors, and the girls of the whole country fell at his feet, and many years of emotional experience. He has developed the skill of knowing whether someone is beautiful or not just by hearing their voice. One day, when he woke up, he heard a wonderful singing voice. However, he was taken aback this time because the owner of the voice was already over 50 years old. In the evening, the king couldn't contain his excitement and came looking for him. The elder sister could only pull up her sister's fingers and stretch them out. The king saw the smooth and delicate fingers, and couldn't wait to kiss, and the younger sister was also enjoying it inside, which made the king more convinced that it must be a peerless beauty inside, and made a request to spend the spring festival together. After listening to it, the older sister was very delighted, but also worried about being discovered. So she made a request, hoping that when playing games with the king, all the lights would be turned off because she liked the mysterious feeling. Without thinking, the king agreed. My sister was very worried about the revelation of the matter, but my sister had already started fantasizing about the beauty of love, and soon it was the day of the date, and in order to deceive the king, the sister asked her sister to use glue to glue the loose skin. Then he wrapped himself in a cloak and went out. The king also kept his promise and had the guards extinguish all the candles. In this way, the two of them spent a wonderful night. In the middle of the night, the king became curious and brought a candle, wanting to see how beautiful the woman truly was. It doesn't matter if you don't look, but when the king took a look, he was completely shocked. The old appearance was exposed naked in front of the king. Thinking about last night, the king felt nauseous and called the guards, ordering them to throw the woman on the bed out of the window. Fortunately, the old cutie's life was enough, and it happened that she hung on a branch to save her life, and at this moment, a witch walked by here, and kept laughing at the absurd behavior of the old cutie, only to see the witch swing of the stick, and the old cutie fell to the ground. Looking at the woman who was hurt by love, the witch took her into her arms, directly for 2 mouthfuls of lactic acid bacteria, and then an incredible scene appeared. The old cutie instantly turned into a charming cutie, and this coincided with the king going out hunting, but it was really fate. The king could not believe that the person he played games with last night was actually an old cute person who is over 50 years old. The king held back his disgust and ordered someone to throw her down the stairs. Afterwards, to alleviate his mood, the king went hunting in the woods. However, he unexpectedly saw a stunning beauty lying on the grass. The king, who loved colorful things, saw this scene and was so amazed that his mouth almost dropped open. However, he didn't know that this lovely girl was the old woman he had thrown down the stairs in the morning. So, happily, the king brought the lovely girl back to the palace and let her become his own queen. After the old cutie became the queen cutie, he did not forget his sister. He sent the guards to send gorgeous clothes, hoping that his sister could also attend his wedding, and the sister who came to the palace looked around. Her appearance seemed to be out of place here, constantly looking around, but still did not find her sister's figure. Suddenly the little cutie pulled her sister aside, saying that she was her sister, and her sister stroked her young face, looking at the delicate skin. In addition to envy and jealousy, I kept asking my sister how she did it, but the cutie said that she didn't know, but promised that her sister would take good care of her in the future, and then went to the middle of the dance floor to continue to complete the wedding, and my sister was like a child at this time. After the ball, she didn't want to leave the palace, and the little cutie was afraid that the matter would be revealed, urging her to go home quickly, but her sister still refused to give up, and she had to tell the secret of her beauty. I hate myself, Blade. But my sister took this seriously. After leaving the palace, she started looking for someone to help her shed her skin on the streets. The other party thought my sister was either stupid or crazy and no one paid attention to her. Then she found the butcher uncle in the village, and removed all the gems on the dress, and asked the other party to help her peel it, and the butcher uncle verified it with his mouth, and made sure that his sister was not cheating, so he took over the business, and the butcher took his sister to the deep mountains and old forests. My sister was tied to a tree trunk, with a look of anticipation in her eyes. After the butcher sharpened his knife, he skillfully peeled off my sister's skin. A scream of agony pierced through the entire valley. The sister who had her skin removed did not become younger. Instead, she died on the way to the palace due to excessive blood loss. At this time, the little cutie's body also underwent changes, and her skin began to age gradually at a visible speed. In order to leave a good impression on the king, she turned around, cried, and left the castle. The story ends here. This is a segment from the movie Story of Stories. It is a story controlled by love, with the sister controlling the king, knowing well that she is not the king's cup of tea. However, she dared to go up on stage like a duck, knowing well that she was old and faded but never giving up. Her infatuation with the king went beyond selfishness, bordering on obsession. Her world had only one question: why doesn't the king like me? And her lines were, "The king should like me now." Similarly, the innocent younger sister's thoughts are the same as her older sister's. She cannot tolerate being ignored, nor can she bear to be separated from her sister even for a second. Her love for her sister becomes controlling, finally causing her sister to be unable to bear it and drive her out of the castle. You are mine, this is the thinking logic of controlling love, a bizarre and surreal song, a story of desire, intriguing and captivating plot. It has a strong viewing value. This movie also has another little story. If you all like it, we can continue the commentary next time. Well, today's program ends here. This movie is called The Old Lady. Welcome to follow us. See you next time.